Welcome to another episode of UCRD Reviews. So today we have a P-Bandai release. This one it comes from the Char's Counterattack Mobile Suit Variations designs, and it's one I've waited for as a figure for a long time. This is the RGZ-91B Rigazi Custom. Obviously designed from the Rigazi from Char's Counterattack, this mobile suit was developed for Amuro, and unlike the original Rigazi that uses a separate back weapon system to talk with, this one is a truly transformable mobile suit that has a Wave Rider form, much like the Zeta Gundam it was developed from. And by the way, Rigazi stands for Refined Gundam Zeta. So it is a really neat design, has a cool AK-47 looking beam rifle, and is transformable. And it has a Gundam head, so it kind of checks all the boxes there. The box art for this looks really nice. You have on the top and bottom there, you have really cool pictures of it. The box is kind of long, but you can see the Amuro symbol there. And then on the back side, we have it transformed, some of the features it can do, and most importantly here, the metal frame you see there in red. So this should be another pretty hefty metal robot spirits figure, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. Alright, so let's take a look at the Rigazi Custom. So just like the other metal robot spirits figures, this one is pretty hefty. You know, that metal frame makes it a bit weighted, which is nice. You know, it feels more quality because it has more weight to it. It is also fully painted, which is pretty cool. So you'll see there's a lot of markings. You have Amuro marking there. You have Londo Bell markings all over it. It's more minimalized than some of the other figures we've got, but I mean, I think it's done really well. They got the color right too, which is really nice. So starting with the head up here, they can look down quite a bit and look up a decent amount. You have the head Vulcans sculpted in there. It's the Zeta Gundam style head. It'll do a full 360. You do want to be very careful of the antenna. You do not get a replacement. We have the shoulders will swing out. You can see the metal joints in there. The arms, move the antenna out of the way. Arms will come up a good amount before they hit the head there. So you can see the shoulder armor is hinged here and here, so it doesn't get in the way. Looks really nice with that gold paint right there. Everything looks good on that front. You do have a rotating joint up there in the arms. It is a metal joint again, so it is a bit more stiff, but it'll rotate all the way around. And you have a metal elbow joint that has a decent amount of articulation. You have hard points on both arms for weapon storage. We have ball jointed wrists. They're really, looks like it's a ball joint with a hinge in there. And then we have the double grenade launchers, which is nice, which I think lifts up and in, yeah, something like that. There we go. So you kind of pull down on it, and then it allows this little door to come out so you can see the grenades. Cool little gimmick there. And then moving forward, we have the torso, can go down about that far. Doesn't come up very much at all. I think this, no, I guess the cockpit door doesn't move. It does rotate a bit before it hits the waist armor. We have the, I think these are beam cannons that are ball jointed here. They are also hinged, so they have a decent bit of movement. So you can see all that in there. They look really nice, very well done. And then we have the front skirt armor, which is ball jointed. Again, looks really nice in there. And the rear skirt armor, which is ball jointed, and you have the thrusters there. I do want to make a note of, when we look at the detail in the legs there, just looks absolutely amazing. You know, it's got that sheen to it from the metal joints, and looks really, really nice. So actually, let's get all the skirt armor out of the way here. And I don't know if you can hear the chirping bug outside. I apologize on his behalf. So we have ball jointed hips here. Everything's a bit stiff, just because of the metal joints. Looks like it might even be, can't tell if it's a rotating joint or not, but anyways, it goes up about that far. So, and you have good knee articulation as well. Good double jointed knees. This piece kind of moves with the knee, this kneecap here. This is hinged. Back here you have the feet that can go downward. They go up about that far and back about that far. We have little plastic pieces back here that I didn't remove. So it looks nice. A little bit of side to side, but the armor's gonna block a lot of that. You have hinged thrusters here, which is really nice. So overall, everything looks really good. However, we are missing some of the components here. So let's get the legs back in place where they're really stiff. Get them back there, and let's grab the rest of it. So we have these wing binders, one for each side. So you can store the beam sabers right here, the hyper beam sabers rather. You have the missile tubes here. You have the wings that'll fold out and also rotate. And you have this big old thruster there. This one moves. So we'll go ahead and attach these. They just peg in, so real easy. There we go. And then you have the middle piece, which is the mega beam cannon. So this one, kind of the same deal. It just pegs right in. Really nice looking. And so this one will go in the middle there. And then you have another one on the other side that'll just pop right in. And so you have all these components, and these are removable there. And you have the wings. Everything looks really nice. This piece moves, and just a really magnificent looking mobile suit. But it does transform, and it does come with a bunch of cool weapons. So let's check out everything that it comes with. Alright, so first up we have the hands. We have gun hands. We have beam saber hands, which are very circular looking because the beam saber handles are very large. And then we have posing hands. So basic assortment plus the fists that already come on the figure. These are the beam saber handles. So the blades will actually plug in here, but they will attach to the mobile suit back here. So what I mean by that is, if we remove one of these and you have your Rigazi custom here, you can see there's notches in here, and they'll just line up with the notch in the hyper beam saber handle, and then you have it where it's movable, and you can also use a beam saber blade to make it look like it's shooting, which is pretty cool. So beam sabers are nice. They're actually hyper beam sabers, I should say. We have some Wave Rider components, which we'll get into in a little bit. We have the shield, which is very similar to the original Rigazis. You have the markings, you have Amuro's symbol, you have 3 hand grenades up here that are not removable or usable, and you have a multi-jointed, ball-jointed arm connection system. It connects very tightly. It's not the easiest thing to put on to the arm, but once it's on there, it's definitely on for good. You have a little hinged piece down here, and that's going to be more for the Wave Rider form. So neat looking shield. Unfortunate that the hand grenades aren't really removable, but that's okay. And then we have the beam assault rifle, which is essentially an AK style rifle. Really cool looking. I like the metallic brown paint there. You have the camera painted. Magazine is not removable, unfortunately. This is an arm connection that goes on the side of the gun. Kind of wish this was done a little bit differently because it looks a bit, it looks a bit unsightly, just hanging off the gun like that. It is removable, but then you have a hole in the side of it. Handle folds up when it's in Wave Rider form, which is nice. And I mean, it looks good. It's a good looking gun. So let's get this tray out of the way here since we don't need it anymore. And then we have a actual stand here that says Rigazi Custom. This one's very similar to the other stands we've gotten. This one's actually closest to the Hazel Custom stand. So we have this piece, which has this little rotating bit that just goes flying off, I guess. This one attaches at the front, and then you have your rear stand attachment, so you can fold this down, extend it, and you have this piece. You can unlock it with this tab, which will move this around, and this one goes to the rear, and then you can use this to kind of lock it into place like so, or you can flip this around to extend it. So simple but interesting feature. And then you have this bracketed piece, which is basically the stand piece for the Wave Rider form, which we will get into next, actually. So let's go ahead and take a look at what you need to do to transform this figure. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start the transformation process here. The first thing I did was attach the rifle to the arm, like so. We're going to move the shoulder armor down as far as we can go. We're going to flip up the front skirt armor pieces. We're going to take the beam guns, move them out and up, facing straight upward, because these are going to become guns in the Wave Rider form. And then you see these cross pins in the legs. We're going to move them so that they're the legs are outward a little bit more. And you might have to play around with this because they sometimes move back into place while you're doing other things. But you want to do that, and then close off the front skirt armor. And then with each leg, we're going to bend it at the knee joint so that it's almost like a Z shape. I'm going to do that with the other leg here. It just takes a little bit of finessing to get it into place. And then with the feet, we're going to close them off, push the armor against them, and push them in. And you can see the thruster move when you do that, which is pretty cool. And then we need the shield. So there's the shield. I took the arm connection off, and we popped this little bracket open. The bracket is going to go right here, and then these little pegs right here are going to just rest in the chest cavity there, right above the cockpit. Now it doesn't sit very well, but we have a bracketed piece that are these two, and this you're going to just connect right like so, and we'll get this connected here. So it'll connect where the stand piece goes. So it'll connect kind of back there. You want to be careful of that antenna when you're pushing it into place. And then the bracket will go over the shield to kind of hold it in place. And then the next step here is we're actually going to move the legs in a position where you see there's a peg sticking up out of the leg there. It attaches to the front portion of this block in the skirt armor. So we got one in there. Sometimes you kind of have to twist the leg around a little bit to get it into place. There we go. Alrighty, that looks good. Alright, so next here you'll actually connect the legs to this bracketed piece. They just push in, and there's little hard points on the insides of the legs, and then you will fold over the mega beam cannon and push down on it, and that'll kind of lock it in place. And then from there you're pretty much done. So let's go ahead and attach it to the stand. So this was a pretty painless transformation process, thankfully. It looks accurate to what it's supposed to look like. The Rigazi custom, and even especially the original Rigazi, kind of had weird looking transformations. Don't forget to fold down your beam assault rifle handle. I didn't do that earlier, but it looks really nice in terms of like the paint and the way it transformed, the way everything locked up. I like that the legs lock in multiple places. The shield was the only thing that I really had any complaint about, and it was pretty minor, and it's just that the front portion doesn't really connect to anything. It just connects down here. But other than that, it works really well. The stand even holds it up well, despite holding it way back here. It feels really secure, and just looks really nice. Also, I forgot to mention that this thruster moves. This whole thing moves, and this piece moves independently as well, so it'll go up about that far. So the thrusters are just really stiff. I didn't notice that they moved before, but all in all, it looks really nice. So it is definitely something you can have post on a shelf like this. Alright, so we're going to talk about a few more features. Firstly, the shield. I found it's kind of difficult to connect to the arm, so what I've done is you pop the shield connection off, connect that to the arm, and then you can pop the ball joint in pretty easily. So that's my little trick with that. The Verningers here have a wide range of articulation. There's some little something sculpted in there which looks really cool. You have the missiles. The wings will fold upwards, so there's a lot of stuff you can do with this. I mentioned earlier you can put the beam saber blades in here to mimic firing, so you can kind of arc them over to fire over the shoulder. So these are really cool, and you've noticed I've removed the mega beam cannon, which I'll show off in just a second. We do have a stand piece here, so that one connects down at the bottom there. That's that other gray piece that I showed off in the beginning of the video. And I also forgot to mention the legs will come out about that far, and they do have thigh swivel, which is super nice. So good little articulation feature there. Let's take a look at that mega beam cannon. So one thing this can actually do that was not originally designed for the Rigazi Custom is it's actually a handheld weapon. You want to be very careful taking this frame off, just because these connection points are fairly brittle. I honestly wouldn't do this a whole lot, especially these right here may break. But you remove this piece, you'll pull this out, you'll see that extended out, and reveal a handle. So this actually becomes a handheld weapon. Now I may struggle at this part. We're going to get that handle into the hand there, possibly. There we go. And then that little back piece connects into the arm. So you have a portable mega beam cannon for the Rigazi Custom, which is really cool. So I'm really liking that they did that. So today I decided to do a Wave Rider form comparison. This is the Zeta Plus C1 KA Signature Metal Robot Spirits, and then we have the Rigazi Custom over here. So you can see in terms of color, this one's obviously very muted, much more military style. It's a neat figure. The downside to it, though, was that it had very, very stiff joints, which were really unfortunate because it made it very difficult to transform. And a lot of these components moved around quite a bit. So the thrusters, the legs, the wing binder, these beam guns up here, they moved, and so it was hard to keep everything symmetrical. I think with the Rigazi Custom, they made that a little simpler. So the Zeta Plus C1 is quite a long Wave Rider form there, and neat looking nonetheless. I mean, it's a really neat design. I've always liked it. The figure wasn't my absolute favorite. I do like the Rigazi Custom better. I will say the stand that comes with the Zeta Plus is much better than this one. It feels a lot sturdier. You can see the figure's not moving around as I move the table, but the Rigazi Custom is wobbling a little bit. I don't fear that this will fall over. I think it has a very secure connection, but this one just seems more rigid, which I like. But both are very, very, very nice figures. I do like the Rigazi Custom design a bit better, though. The Metal Robot Spirits Rigazi Custom is a great figure. Definitely something I would recommend picking up. Even though it's a P-Bandai, and even though it fetches a slightly higher price, I picked it up for $155 before shipping on the US P-Bandai website. Although I wouldn't recommend using them just because of the massive shipping delays they always put on their figures, it is something worth finding and getting if you like these style of figures. You know, this design is really cool. It's like a different type of Zeta Gundam. It has a AK-47 for a main weapon. It transforms. It's solid. It has metal joints. It's painted really well. I mean, the list goes on. It has all the accessories it needs. It does all the gimmicks it needs to do. It even features stuff that's unique to this figure, like the Mega Beam Cannon being a handheld weapon. So, I mean, it's a fantastic figure, and you can pick it up for less than what the Hyakushiki Kai mass production type cost for its pre-order price. I mean, this is definitely one that you don't want to miss out on. It may very well get more expensive, and might be worth looking into and picking up. So let me know in the comments if you ended up getting this one and what you think of it. And I appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate the support for the channel, and I'm really excited. I'm trying to pick up the Real Marking G3 and Char's Rickdom when they come out. I haven't really found them for pre-order yet on the websites that I use, but I will be picking those up soon, hopefully, and getting those reviewed, plus all the other stuff that's coming through down the pipeline. And I have 2 other reviews that are of older figures that are just sitting in the queue, so I might drop those as well. So keep an eye on all that. I'll keep you posted on news and anything else that pops up. And again, I appreciate you all, and I'll see you next time.